Hey, Read Through the Word. Today is April 16th, and today's lesson is called No Heart. So we are still in the middle of David and Saul, and David has been anointed, and Saul, remember how we talked about he had a heart for the throne, but no heart for God. Now that he knows the throne is not going to be his or his family, he has no heart at all. And this is evidence of it. So this is what we're going to look at today. We are in 1 Samuel chapter 22, and this is, I want to pick up with verse 6 to verse 23, and that's what we're looking at today. It says this: One day the prophet Gad told David, "Leave the stronghold and return to the land of Judah." So David went to the forest of Hereth. The news of his arrival to Judah soon reached Saul. At the time, the king was sitting near the tamarisk tree on the hill at Gibeah, holding his spear and surrounded by his officers. This is like him sitting on the throne. So think of it that way. The whole tamarisk tree has this idea of royalty there. "Listen here, you men of Benjamin," Saul shouted to his officers when he heard the news. "Has that son of Jesse promised every one of you fields and vineyards? Has he promised to make you all generals and captains in his army? Is that why you have conspired against me? For not one of you told me when my own son made a solemn pact with the son of Jesse. You're not even sorry for me. Think of it. My own son encouraging him to kill me, as he's trying to do this very day." And then Doeg the Edomite, which we're going to talk about him, who was standing there with Saul's men, spoke up. "When I was at Nob," he said, "I saw the son of Jesse talking to the priest Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub. Ahimelech consulted the Lord for him, and then he gave him food on the sword of Goliath the Philistine." King Saul immediately sent for Ahimelech and all of his family who served as priests at Nob. They arrived. Saul shouted at him, "Listen to me, you son of Ahitub." "What is it, my king?" Ahimelech asked. Ahimelech, "Have you and the son of Jesse conspired against me?" Saul demanded. "Why did you give him food and a sword? Why have you consulted God for him? Why have you encouraged him to kill me, as he's trying to do this very day?" "But sir," Ahimelech replied, "is anyone among all your servants as faithful as David, your son-in-law? Why, he's the captain of your bodyguard and a highly honored member of your household." This was certainly not the first time I had consulted God for him. May the king not accuse me and my family in this matter, for I knew nothing at all about any plot against you. "You will certainly die, Ahimelech, along with your entire family," the king shouted. And he ordered his bodyguards, "Kill these priests of the Lord, for they are allies and conspirators with David. They knew he was running away from me, but they didn't tell me." But Saul's men refused to kill the Lord's priests. Then the king said to Doeg, "You do it." So Doeg the Edomite turned on them and killed them that day. 87 priests in all, still wearing their priestly garments. And then he went to Nob, the town of the priests, and killed the priests' families. Men, women, children, and babies. And all the cattle, donkeys, sheep, and goats. Only Abiathar, one of the sons of Ahimelech, escaped, and he fled to David. And when he told David what Saul had killed the priest of the Lord, David exclaims, "I knew it! When I saw Doeg the Edomite there that day, I knew he was sure to tell Saul." Now I have caused the death of all of your father's family. Stay here with me and don't be afraid. I will protect you with my own life. For the same person wants to kill us both. All right. As we can see, Saul is given over to hatred. His hatred of David consumes him. Saul displays horrible leadership here, and that's the point of him, of the Bible telling us that he's sitting under that tamarisk tree. I can't ever say that word. And the spear in his hand with his men around him. It was to show leadership and kingly leadership. That's what it's showing. He's supposed to be a king right there. He acts everything but the king here. For a man whose heart is for the throne, once he realizes he can't have the throne, he's heartless. He's cruel. He's very paranoid here. He thinks everybody's out to get him. The whole world's plotting to get against him. He accuses his men of conspiracies. He accuses his son Jonathan of betrayal and said, yeah, Jonathan's in on it with David and they're both trying to kill me. That's not true, which we're going to talk about more in the coming days. Not true at all. He won't even look at it. He won't even say David's name. Both he and Doeg call him the son of Jesse. They will not call him by his name. So that says a lot. Now, let's talk about, I usually call this guy Dog. And that's a southern dog. D-A-W-G. Because he's acting like it. So Doeg the Edomite is Doeg, or there's probably another pronunciation. But I've taught this section so much in Room with Ladies that I always call him Dog. So it's hard to say it because I always say he's acting like when you call someone in the South a dog, like D-A-W-G, that's saying a lot. And he's acting like it. And so he's a dog and he's acting like it and he's showing it. So, he's willing to do anything. It's like he's sitting back there and he watched that day he saw David in Nob getting the bread. And he's like, I'm filing this back till I can use it to my advantage. And the time has come. And here he is. So he's sitting back here thinking, how can this further me politically? And how can I get more power out of this? And so he's ready to pounce. And when people won't do what Saul wants, Dog's ready to do it. He's a political opportunist. So then he tells him, oh, by the way, I saw this. And so Saul sends for Ahimelech and the other priests. And he has no respect at all, Saul does not, for the high priest. And you see, I want you to see this contrast here from the way Saul speaks about David, the way Saul speaks to his men, the way Saul speaks to the priest. Contrast that between how Ahimelech speaks back, which we're about to look at, and then how David speaks. So you're going to see this no heart. Because what you see is how Saul respects no one. Ahimelech respects Saul. He uses words that show he understands he is still king and he is the priest. Saul speaks nothing but, the word just went out of my head. Paranoid. Okay, there you go. Paranoid. Nothing but paranoid lies. Everything he says is a lie. And he's convinced himself it's true. He's so paranoid here. That Ahimelech comes and speaks truth. And Saul won't even accept the truth. Ahimelech, Saul keeps calling David, son of Jesse. And even Doeg calls him son of Jesse. Ahimelech says his name while the other two refuse to say it. But out of respect, and Ahimelech, he knows what's going on. And he uses David's name. Saul accuses David, and Ahimelech defends David. And then Saul accuses Ahimelech, and Ahimelech defends himself. And he said, basically, I just fed him. I didn't do anything wrong. And sidebar, there was nothing wrong with what he did. It did not go against any rules that the showbread couldn't. The showbread was meant after it was in the tabernacle for its allotted amount of time is to be taken off and eaten by the priest. So they gave David the bread, and there was nothing wrong with what they had done. So I think a lot of people say, oh, that was what this whole thing. No, it was just because Saul hated David, he wanted everybody else to hate David as well. And they're not. And it's making him even more and more angry. Because what you see is Saul moves so he starts with this paranoia, this inward hatred towards everything that's going on, because at this point the Spirit of the Lord has left him and he has tormented, and all of that torment turns into paranoia and anger, and it's inward for a while, but then it moves outward. It moves outward to David, it moves outward to his men, and then it actually moves upward. This is not about the priests. This is Saul's attempt to strike back at God. He orders the priests killed. And then the guards refuse. And Doeg's like, I do it. I'm your guy. Send me. So that day, he slaughters 85 priests and then goes to their town where he slaughters all of their family, children, babies, animals included. What is very interesting to how we ended up, one of the reasons we ended up in this place is Saul refused to slaughter the Amalekites. And that's a whole different talk for a different day. He refused to do it. Remember the whole Samuel's like, what is that that I hear? The very thing he refused to do against his enemy that God commanded, he does against the very priest of God. He's going to take this all out on God's people because he's going to have it out for God. Saul has no heart at all anymore. He's gone from inward hatred to outward hatred to upward hatred. He lost focus. He lost focus. And it's so easy for us to do. We can justify sin when we lose focus. And that's exactly what we're going to watch play out throughout the rest of the life of Saul. And it's a warning for us to not do the same. See you next time on Read Through the Word.